Welcome to Austin Eras, where we explore Austin's transformation into a 21st century boomtown and the voices shaping its past, present, and future.
Welcome to the Austin Eras podcast. I'm your host, Adam Flagg, and I have a question for everyone listening today. What if one of the most successful entertainment businesses in Central Texas is actually a minor league baseball team? Because the Round Rock Express doesn't just host baseball games. They host 75 baseball games a year, plus monster trucks, rugby matches, high school graduations, high school baseball championships, professional softball, television productions, and sometimes Will Ferrell shows up pretending to be a pitcher named Rojo Johnson. Behind it all is a franchise connected with one of the most legendary names in baseball history, Nolan Ryan. If you grew up in the time that I grew up in, there's no bigger name, no bigger pitcher, and really, you could say that for 2 decades of people growing up watching baseball. Nolan Ryan and his family are very entrepreneurial, and they built an entire ecosystem around businesses and baseball. Our guest today helps run that operation and create the magic that happens here at Dell Diamond. We are in the clubhouse. We are recording for the first time ever outside of our own studios. So you can see right here, we're in the visitors clubhouse. And I want to introduce Tim Jackson, who's been with the Round Rock Express since 2010. He's now the general manager, and he's been that since 2015. I have a question for you, which is really, what was the moment that you realized working for the Round Rock Express wasn't just a baseball job? It's really about creating experiences for thousands of people every day.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be the first location off-site for you guys. And so why not bring in a beautiful clubhouse like this? But thanks again. You know, I didn't know a lot about minor league baseball. I knew as a former baseball player, I played at Baylor University. I played against guys who played professionally, and guys coming back to Baylor would talk about it, and kind of knew the route. Of course, knew Dell Diamond. I came here as a senior in high school. We played a tournament here in Round Rock, and so kind of knew about it that way. But I had no idea what minor league baseball was truly about until really that first season when I got here in 2010. Doing baseball operations stuff, I was really at home, being in the clubhouse with players and managers and coaches and all that. I felt pretty good. But the big part of my role in that first year in 2010, as you mentioned, was doing community relations. And I didn't really know anything about that. And so it really turned my attention away from the field to look externally, outside the lines, as I would say, and deal with nonprofits and school districts and all sorts of things, and really fight an AB honor roll and perfect attendance programs. I'm getting tickets out to young kids and families when I really found out what this place means to a community. Certainly you mentioned Rojo Johnson and Will Ferrell. That was my first welcome to minor league baseball introduction of going, I think I could get used to this.
Yeah.
But it did not take me long to understand this place is bigger than baseball. Baseball's not why the vast majority of my fans come, and I think early on my baseball heart was kind of broken about that. I wanted people to love baseball like I did, but then you find out really, really quickly it's not why most people come. They come for the things we control. The dollar hot dogs, the princess nights, which my daughters love, Star Wars night, whatever it may be, they come for those things. It's not the baseball, and I don't control the baseball as most people think I do as the general manager, so it actually works to our favor.
So you've been doing this as a general manager since 2015, and currently the Round Rock Express is a Texas Rangers affiliate, a AAA affiliate. Started out as a AA affiliate in 2000 with the Houston Astros, then became a AAA affiliate, then went from the Astros to the Rangers, and now back to the
Astros and then the Rangers.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
It's either of it. It's either of one. Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like, are there, from an affiliation standpoint, do people go, well, I like the Rangers, now I like the Astros? How does this even work? Because it's switched, but you've been with the Rangers for a while.
For sure. Yeah, I got here in 2010. That was the last year of our AAA season with the Astros initially.
Okay.
Then we became the Rangers in 2011 through 2018, and then back to the Astros in 19. A lot of that, the rules have changed with Major League Baseball, so it's not like it used to be. But a lot of it had to do with the Ryan family, right? We were the Astros forever up and through 2010, and then Nolan became the president of the Texas Rangers, so that made more sense to align with them. We did that until he wasn't there anymore.
Okay.
And then Reed became the president of the Houston Astros, so then we realigned until he wasn't, right? And then after COVID, when everything went crazy, we got realigned by Major League Baseball back to the Rangers. But to your point, we either want to be the Rangers or the Astros. We love our partnership with the Rangers and did with both.
Yeah.
But we're right here in the middle. We're 2.5, 3 hours from either. And I think both organizations would tell you to be able to plant a flag as the Rangers or Astros in Central Texas and fight for that loyalty and fan base. They want to do that. So we see ourselves as a valuable commodity as it relates to that.
I want to catch people up a little bit on who you've been before you came to the Round Rock Express. So you played baseball at McLennan Community College, at Baylor. You went on to get a graduate degree in sports administration from Baylor while working as the director of baseball operations. But I think one of the most impressive things is the Round Rock Express have to be one of the best minor league baseball programs out there, one of the best teams in terms of how it's run, what it looks like. And I mean, we're right here in the visitor clubhouse, which is the nicest I've seen ever.
Right. Well, it is the nicest visiting clubhouse in minor league baseball. And to your point, I mean, I was a baseball guy, as I touched on. And so going from a player to director of operations, I'm more operationally minded. And so I thought this will be an easy transition to minor league baseball until I got here. And I found out really quickly what it's more about. It's about entertainment and hospitality and those types of things. And so it did not take me long to understand what it's about. And I didn't really understand or think that I would be good at that, right? I thought I'm a baseball guy. I talked to a lot of sport management majors about, hey, I'm a sport management kid. I love baseball. I should work there. Going, wait a second. Your love for baseball or sports in general is not in the top 10 reasons why you would be a great fit or an asset to me. It just worked out that way for me, that I had a passion for baseball. I had a skill set that fits what minor league baseball is really about. And it is that, right? We're the front porch of the community, right? Minor league baseball is for everybody. We were talking to somebody, or mentioned before we turned on the camera, that we're trying to hire a new on-field MC, right? It is more about entertainment than anything else. That's what people are going to leave home with, right? When they come out here, they're going to have a great experience because of something that was not a home run. It was because of the dollar dogs or the things we talked about. And so it took me a while to understand that, and really this big paradigm shift for what drives people to the ballpark, right? And again, it's back to the things and the entertainment things that we get to do on a nightly basis, whether it's a big Friday night that kind of speaks for itself, or it's that Tuesday night because it's a $2 tacos or $3 drafts, or hey, my youth, my choir's coming out to sing the national anthem. Like, those types of things bring people here. Those are the things that I did not know. And I think a lot of people that are sports fans, when they start in this business as an intern or whatever they may do, going, I didn't realize it was more about that. You mentioned working in a box office and doing ticketing requests. Oftentimes that's where a lot of people start. But you find out really quickly what it is that drives people here. And it did not take me long. It took a few winter meetings, and for me to kind of, when I became the GM 10 years ago, to go see a lot of minor league operations and really talk to my counterparts and see these stadiums and understand how, special it is to work here. Right? We mentioned the Nolan Ryan piece. It really starts at the top with him and on down to Reed, and the reputation he had, not just as a player but as a person and a family-driven person, and what he means to his family and this community, not just on the broader sense of baseball, but community. Reed really drove that home in 2000. And when you married Nolan Ryan and his reputation with Central Texas, as you've now known, and being a baseball fan yourself, like this hotbed that is baseball in Central Texas and Texas in general, not having professional baseball in Central Texas since 1950, back in the Austin Senators, as we played as.
How did that happen?
I don't know. There's a lot of reasons, and certainly it is a business, as you hear as well. And so I think when Reed, he originally went to University of Texas to play, then he went and finished up at TCU. And when he got out, he played pro ball for a couple of seasons. Thought, man, I want to bring pro ball. I want to own a minor league franchise. Like, Central Texas is the place to do it, right? And so they set their sights on Central Texas. They originally looked at Austin, but found out pretty quickly a lot of red tape and trying to get that going. In the city of Round Rock had just secured Dell headquarters a few years before that. And just a lot of foresight, and the city is still that way, right? Of always looking to the future and going, this is where you need to be. This is where the growth is coming. Is now 25 years in, we're really seeing this is where you want to come, right? And they really fought to go, hey, this is where you want to be. And the Ryans saw that, and then just a beautiful thing was born really back in 2000.
I'm nerding out as a baseball fan. So to give a little background to our listeners, I started getting into baseball 8 or 9 years old, and ended up going to spring training many times in Florida, once in Arizona. Been to most Major League Baseball stadiums. I have an encyclopedic knowledge of baseball, but like you said, I did end up working for the Iowa Cubs in high school and college, and I learned what it was like behind the scenes. And there were some things about it I really loved, and some things I didn't, which is very much like interesting to watch, like how minor league baseball works. And I think I read a quote you said, or it's probably been reused a million times, but the days are long, but the weeks are short, which is interesting because I would see people come in 8, 9, 10 a.m. and they'd be leaving at 9, 10, 11 p.m. During the season. That's a lot of work. You have to really love and be passionate about what you're doing.
I think that's why I say, like, I don't think you pursue your passion, pursue your talent. Right. And that's hard as a young kid. I also tell kids in your 20s, and I have to say that in my business, don't pursue the dollars early in your 20s. Pursue these opportunities and building out your network. And I think I learned that really, really quickly.
I loved it so much. I went to school to be a broadcaster, thought I was going to do play-by-play. And I think it's a long season. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of work.
Well, the other thing I'll say too is the other thing. My first year, Jay Miller was our president, and everybody loved Jay, and he was here from the outset. He said, "You need to learn to sleep fast." Right? It's something that you learn in baseball. Going, how do I do that? I can't quite square that circle. Right? But I get it. Right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, and this is kind of a life thing too. And I'm a father of 2 young daughters, and the same thing. Like, you have some of these long days that all of a sudden you look up and it's July. But how do we get these long, hot days? You're doing the tarp, which I don't know how many you did in Iowa.
No,
we did a lot. And last year we did a lot. And I may be one of the remaining GMs in minor league baseball that also does the tarp. Like,
really?
You've got to do it to play, right? And it just is what it is in rainy days. But these days are long. 15-hour days are pretty easy to come by. I think we've tried to push back on that in the last 5 or 6 years from an executive team here to, cross-train a lot of people. And I want people to have a life outside of here. And so minor league baseball, when I started, was not that way. Everybody's here at 8 a.m. Everybody stays here to the end. I don't care if your brother's getting married. You're going to be here. And we don't operate that way anymore. But there are some things we can manipulate, right? R&R days and taking time off and cross-training. But it is what it is, right? I mean, we're not a 9 to 5. And that's the thing I love about it is you're not going to come in any given day and no 2 days are the same. And you get to wear a lot of different hats, and we've got many here today, right? But you get to do something new every day, and minor league baseball is unique because you get to dip a toe in all the different departments and see how it all kind of works together. I think in your short time doing that now, you probably saw that. And you go, I actually like this part, I don't like this part, but it all has to work together to make it work. And at the end of the day, you look up, and I'm going on my 17th season. I still feel like the new guy here, and there's so much to learn. But I think, again, when you're passionate about stuff, as they would say, I mean, time really does fly. But learn to sleep fast. The days are long, but the weeks are short. That's exactly right.
I want to take people back to the early days. I want to go back. You're a native Texan. You're from Cedar Hill.
Yep.
You obviously played college baseball. When did baseball become big in your life, and what was its meaning when you were younger?
Yeah, I think it always did. I played all the sports, and I think even Nolan will tell you I'm big on doing as many sports as possible. And it's tough in Texas, right? You've got good enough weather to play baseball year-round. And I really thought early on, fall baseball was becoming a thing, and I always did baseball, and then I'm doing basketball, and I'm doing football in the fall. And I'll look back, I don't regret any of that. I never had any arm issues. We talk a lot about that. Kids that are, by the time we get to high school, they really fall out of love with baseball because that's all they do, and travel ball and all these things. And I played select ball too, but we didn't have the kind of money to travel to Florida or wherever you're going to go these days, to Atlanta. We did it around the Dallas area. But I played all the sports and really fell in love with just sports and competing. And now looking back, I equate a lot of life and my professional life and personal life to my time playing baseball because it is a game of failure, right? It's something you're going to fail at way more than you're going to succeed at. And so as growing up, life's going to be that way sometimes. And the grittiness that comes with playing baseball and the daily approach, which sounds so cliche sometimes when I'm talking to my staff about, hey, it's one pitch at a time. Hey, that at bat is over. Today's a new day, right? You see that a lot in my world too, where, we have, manager weather related, as I talk about, maybe they're upset at us about making a call or whatever it may be. And there's a blow up and there's a little bit of a spiff. The next day's a new day, right? In baseball, because there's a lot of games, it has to be that way. And so I think a lot of that equates to life of the way you have to approach it. We hire a lot of former baseball players and just athletes in general because of that mindset that you can kind of take to you as a professional. But I think earlier it was just that way. I love baseball. I knew that was going to be my sport if I was going to play one in college. Like I said, high school though, my freshman year I played all 3, football, basketball, and baseball. I actually love watching basketball maybe more than any sport, but I knew baseball was going to be my sport. Of course, that's changed. I'm now biased to baseball. But the thing I love about baseball, I think, is that it is a social sport. It's so unique to any other sport, right?
Yeah.
The demographic that we're kind of catering to is kids that are 10 years old on the youth baseball team to couples who are in their 80s and they're retired and they love baseball, and everybody in between. And there's 75 home games for us, as you mentioned earlier, and there's something new happening, nightly promotions, theme nights that we're doing. There's something for everybody. We're catering to everybody. And so I love that baseball offers that. But as a kid, I don't think I knew. I just knew I was good at baseball. It might be my sport beyond high school if I was blessed to do that. And then I think looking back now, just understanding kind of what it taught me, I'm just so grateful for it.
How'd you get to the Round Rock Express? You joined in 2010. You were obviously at Baylor before that. I mean, tell me a little bit about your Baylor experience and then the transition to the Round Rock.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor was great. Right place, right time. I always wanted to go to Baylor. I had a good friend of mine that was 2 years older than me in high school, a guy named Michael Griffin. He was an All-American there. So I followed him going, man, I'd love to follow in his footsteps. And it's a faith-based university, which I wanted. So I ended up going to McLennan, which is a junior college across the highway. It was there in Waco to be close to Baylor, and was fortunate enough to get a look and had a great year my sophomore year and came over to Baylor. But, the faith component was big to me. I met my wife there. I met the best friends of my life. And so it obviously means a lot to me now. But it's where I always wanted to go. And, through a lot of trials and things of, hey, I think I'm going to make it. I might have a chance to get a chance to play professionally and sign a free agent deal. That did not come to fruition. So I kind of thought, well, maybe this is kind of my time to transition over. And as fate would have it, the director of operations, which is the GA spot at Baylor, he was graduating, and I was kind of hanging around thinking I'm not going to get drafted, and maybe this pro ball thing's not going to work out. And I'd kind of thought about a secondary degree. He goes, why don't you do this job? And I go, well, what about you? And he's like, well, I'm going to graduate, and this could be a good thing for you. And so that led to talking to the head coach and what does this look like? And he kind of walked me through the operations and team travel and purchasing, and you're going to help some of the recruiting and you're going to maintain the field. So I've fixed many mounds and many plate areas and drug the field and really did everything right. And so I really fell in love with going, well, maybe this is my chance to stay around the game. And so that's kind of how it started, was, well, maybe I can hang around the game. And I think it really helped me. A lot of guys struggle when baseball's over. Yeah. And I remember my last at bat, we were at our regional tournament playing University of Rice, playing TCU. My last at bat, I'm going up against their closer. We put on a hit and run. I single to right. We get first and third. We're down by 2. They pinch run for me in like the 7th or 8th inning. I come off the field and we lose that game. And I'm sitting there in the dugout, Reckling Park in Houston, going, my baseball career is over. Right? And thinking, well, what do I do now? Like a lot of guys. And so the fact that I got to work for the team with a lot of my roommates and teammates still on the team, that I got to still be around it, the clubhouse and the dugout and all those things, it was a easy kind of soft runway away from playing to be around it going, oh, this is what I want to do. And so that was still only a 2-year thing. I got my degree and going, well, it's not a full-time job. I got to figure out something to do. And so, like many things in life, connections and networking is so important. Yeah. The SID for the baseball team, who I'd worked with doing interviews as a player, but also worked alongside as the director of ops, had just secured a job here at the Express back in 2009. Okay. Being director of PR communications. And so I stayed in touch with him going, what a great organization. Hey, by the way, I graduate in August. And he goes, well, I just got here, But sure enough, full-time job opened up, and he kind of laid that out to me of, hey, it's going to be some director of ops type stuff, team travel, which I had done, player relations, all that stuff. Going, oh, sign me up. I'm all over there. He goes, but hey, but your core duty is going to be doing the community relations. Going like, wow, what does that entail? I have no idea. And so he kind of broke that down and going, I can do anything, I will learn anything. But I also helped out on the PR and comm side. And so I would help do interviews with players. I would help set up media day. Yeah. I would coordinate those things with KVU and CBS and set those things up. But one of the things I also did, being community relations, the thing that really, one of my other welcome to minor league baseball moment, is I've been Spike, our mascot, many, many times. Really? I would set up things in the fall. We did not have a full-time mascot. We still don't, right? Just a day of game one. Yeah. So oftentimes to this day, to make a little more money and to help us, our sales team or marketing team, go, yeah, they'll make a little extra money. They'll go to some school fall fundraiser. And so I would set those up because that's my job in community relations, to make sure, hey, yeah, the season ended in Labor Day in September, but don't forget about the Express until we get back to the spring next year. So I would set up all these, hey, Spike's going to be there. He's our most tenured employee. He's been here since day one, our most recognizable employee. Yeah. And so I would set him up and then throw it to my sales team going, who wants to, do this for me? Like, no, I'm good. The long season, I don't want to do that. So I'm going, well, I guess that's me. And so I've been him many, many times. And my wife, who was my girlfriend, soon to be fiance, became my handler. She would come down, and she was in Dallas getting her master's at Dallas Baptist. And she'd come down and go, hey, babe, it's great to have you this weekend, but I got 2 Spike appearances. And she would come alongside, make sure kids weren't trying to pull my hands off and doing all sorts of stuff. And so, I end up looking back, I really love that. And, it's really led into kind of my mantra as the general manager here is, instead of the whole, I would never ask you to do something I wouldn't do, it's I would never ask you to do something I haven't done. Yeah, there you go. And so there's still a million things I need to do. But when I'm asking my community relations team now to get Spike to do an appearance at the Chewy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I'm not just going, hey, that'd be nice to be going, I know how important that is because I've done that. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of been my mantra and has been since that first year, where my dad asked me after minor league baseball year 1, well, what'd you think? Oh, Dad, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be, but you know what? I really love it. Yeah. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I go, I think I want to be a general manager. And he said, you know what? He goes, to be a general manager, you need to learn to generally manage everybody. That doesn't mean you need to be the best marketing person or salesperson, an ops guy, because I'm not. But you need to sit at their feet for as long as you can to learn, right? And that's what I really set out doing those next 6 seasons. And again, 2015, I was 30 years old, got named general manager. And just like as an athlete, there were a lot of things outside of your control I couldn't control. I got this opportunity as a really young, green person.
Yeah.
And my mantra has not changed. I want to continue to do as much as I can do. I mentioned pulling tarp, and our president, Chris Almendares, does the same thing, but it's what's required.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I'm calling those people like I did 1,000,000 times last year to go, hey guys, it's tarp time in 30 minutes, going, you know what, but I'm down there with you. And I know what I'm asking of you because I've done that a lot of times.
I love that. That was a great answer, because I think there's so many different ways you can go into baseball and so many different ways you can contribute. And the fact that you want to be that servant leader, that you're able to do those things and really help the people is important. And I'm going to tie this thread back to the Ryan family and the Ryan Sanders baseball program, because to me, that ownership group, I started coming to games in 2007. I moved here the summer of 2007. I was like, they got a AAA baseball team, I'm there. I remember the Iowa Cubs came to town. Wife and I bought front row tickets, and I still have a picture from that day. I remember. Yeah. I remember the hat. I remember everything. And I think that's the really great part about baseball, is you're making memories for people. And something special about the Nolan Ryan, the family. I mean, Nolan's got 2 sons, Reese and Reed. He's got a daughter as well. It's not involved in baseball.
Wendy, that's right.
Married to Ruth, who's always around. Nolan's always around and so
who might be the most competitive person in that family?
Really?
Yes. I know that personally because I've seen it. I've golfed with both of them, which is kind of cool. But if you've watched the Facing Nolan documentary,
on Netflix,
you really see it.
Yeah.
I mean, she really steals the show, which is really cool. But she's super competitive. You know, she won a state title at Alvin High School in tennis in high school. She's super competitive to this day. I mean, tennis, golf, pickleball, you name it. She might be, I think if you ask the kids, the most competitive person in that family, which is saying a lot.
So I know our listeners are going to want to know about Nolan Ryan. So we want to talk about Nolan a little bit. Ruth is definitely an important part of the story. Is that documentary still on Netflix?
That's a good question. I don't know if it is.
It's still
available somewhere. It's a great watch. Again, I've been here going on 17 years. I've gotten, which is so cool to know the Ryan family so well.
Yeah.
There were things in there I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when you get to the end, you see the rolling of credits of how many records he holds. Yeah. There's a lot of records we all know about, right? The no-hitters and all those things, the strikeout totals and all that. But there's ones he doesn't like to talk about, because when you pitch for 20-something years,
leads and walks,
you know, things that you don't want when you play and pitch as long as he did.
Yeah,
there's ones that maybe you don't want people to know about. But yeah, there were things even I learned watching that documentary. I would encourage everybody to watch it.
So I want to get inside the mindset of Nolan, considering that you've worked with him and the organization for so long. I've seen him around the stadium a few times. I've seen him at different fundraisers, and he's such an approachable person. And there's something about what him and Reed and Reese have brought to this team that is just a reflection on the experience you have when you come to Dell Diamond. And I think everyone that's here is kind of a caretaker of what that looks like. I describe it as kind of this Midas touch. Not even necessarily associated with Dell Diamond. I mean, good stock.
Yeah, beef company.
You've got Nolan Ryan beef. You've got
our bank.
Yeah, our bank is impressive. I mean, just really skilled.
And many more.
I mean, how many people retire from baseball and maybe have a more successful business career than they had in baseball? Which you're a Hall of Famer. That's saying something. So tell me a little bit about the mantra, the mindset of what Ryan Sanders has done here, the ownership group, because they have Ryan Sanders Entertainment Group, which is just merged. A turf group. I mean, how did this all happen, and what are the lessons you learned?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it really does start at the top, and it starts with Nolan, and he'll tell you too. I mean, his favorite sport was basketball.
Really?
Yeah, but he's like, God bless me with an arm to throw 100 miles an hour. I need to be a good steward of this, right?
Yeah.
And so it starts with him, right? He's just such an unbelievable person. You know, I've gotten a chance to. I've been in a lot of rooms, shaking a lot of hands I never otherwise would have, just because of the Ryans. And there's some people, look, you've come across some big-time baseball players and celebrities, and then you meet them, and you go, you know, they didn't live up to maybe the expectation. Nolan surpasses them. Just the type of person he is. Family is what comes to mind to me. He's such a family first, and that's what Reed and Reese talked about. Reed talks about starting and really wanting to owning a minor league baseball team. Is he spent so many summers in clubhouses all around baseball, not knowing any different. It's just my dad, right? And so he's seen that, and Nolan was always big about it. Doesn't matter where I'm going, I'm bringing my family. My boys will be in this clubhouse. They're going to travel with me when they can do those types of things. And so I think it starts with family. It starts with, servant leadership you mentioned. That's a big deal to him too. it's not just when you run a minor league team, it's not just taking care of your front office and taking care of your sponsors and your fans. Those are 3 core things, but also taking care of your players. I think that gets lost sometimes, not to speak poorly of some of my minor league counterparts, but you're worried about driving revenue and partners and club levels and all the things that it takes to run a business, and because you got to drive a bottom line too. But we want to take care of our players. And what I will say about the Ryans collectively, it is not all about the bottom line. We need to operate a business and do all the things you need to do to stay operational, right? But they're going to say if there's something we need to do to take care of our partners that we didn't budget for, take care of our players or our front office staff, do those things, right? And they're still actively involved, but it's not an everyday, hey, what do we got going? Where are we at here? It's just we go over there and we see Nolan quite a bit. He's still fairly active in the businesses. The Ryan Sanders Group bought 25% of the San Antonio Missions. They're trying to get a new stadium built down there, and I think that's likely to happen in 2029. And so Reed spends a lot of time down there, but they just spent so much time around baseball to understand what it looks like to run a good business, do right by all the stakeholders you need to do right by. And for those guys, as many businesses they've started and been successful in, they're never leaving baseball, because baseball is where it all started. There's a lot of groups that are buying up minor league clubs, as some people who care to know about. And the Ryans go, we're not selling Round Rock, right? And if you look here to our east, we've got our bank, we've got the beef company and sister companies that office right next to us, Nolan's office and Reed and Reese's office. Yeah. They're here kind of in this compound in Round Rock of going, this is our first love. All of this has started because of baseball. And they just want to be good stewards of the game. And so I think in a way I'm really proud to work for them and to be in this community. And again, that was hard being the GM as young as I was, because you see what they mean to this community. So I've been given this torch to carry of like, hey, here's expectations the Ryans have. And when Reed was in Houston, and yes, Reese was here as our CEO, but he's not Reed. They're very different, and they would tell you that. And there's a lot of other businesses got going, and Nolan's doing stuff he's doing of going, hey, we're the torchbearers, right? Yeah. We want to we err on the side of our people, of our partners, of our players, of our community. You've gotten to see, man, I mean, this is a special community, not just because they love baseball, not just because of the Ryans. And the thought was always, you bring the Ryans, the Express here, alongside the Sanders family, who meant a lot to this, starting this up as well, and care just as much about this community, that at some point it's going to have to be bigger than Nolan. At some point it's going to have to be bigger than Reed. Yeah. And we've gotten to that point. I mean, most people that move to this area don't know us from anybody.
Would you say Express is a transportation company?
Right, yeah. I ran into a lady not many years ago at a chamber event, and she saw my badge going, oh, Round Rock Express, just kind of striking up conversation. What is that, a bus company? And I'm like, what? No, we're the baseball team. You hadn't heard of us? Going, oh, I've heard of you guys. And, well, we're at Dell Diamond. Oh, I've heard of that. Well, what did you think we did? I don't know, sell computers? Going, well, I guess I could see all of that, right? And so I think that's the challenge as an operator now is this rich history that the Ryans brought and the Express have, that when I got here in 2010, everybody in this market knew about. On Friday nights, fireworks, you're here. This is where you come.
That's right.
But now with entertainment options, you can bring it to your couch. You don't have to leave and go nowhere. Now there's other things in the market, and now you got to fight because people don't know who you are. And they don't know minor league baseball. It's semi-pro, or I don't know. Like, I'm not a baseball fan, right? All the other things you get, the hurdles you get to get people out here. Yeah. You can't really live on that. And so that forethought of like, at some point, it's got to be more than Ryan family, Nolan's legacy, Reed's legacy, and he still has it. When he comes here he emceed the Round Rock big gala event this year. 800 people there. Sure, there's still people who know, but most people don't. Now, who's this Reed guy, and what's his history around that? Yeah. And so we've kind of reached that point 25 years in that, who we are has been bigger than them. And that's the standard we live to, right? Yeah. And that's what you want people, and whether you like baseball or Nolan Ryan, because I give a lot of tours, and it's funny, even they get older, of all of a sudden going, hey, Nolan Ryan owns our team. And they go, well, who's that? Going, what? Huh? And so that was always the plan and needed to be the plan. And I think the Ryans are proud of that. But I think that, right, it's stewardship. It's bringing joy through the game of baseball. Mm-hmm. No matter if you love baseball or not, there's something for everybody. And so those are those kind of core values that we hit every day.
It's interesting. The Express, the name is kind of dual functioning. And it's not a transportation company. Yeah. But we
could be. I don't know.
You could be. Yeah. But
where do you need to go?
Express is a great name. Nolan had that nickname for how fast he threw. But also, how many games do I go to that I hear the train whistle go by?
right?
I mean, it's perfect.
Most people think that's why the name is.
It's wild to me. Like, I don't know if that was planned, if you always knew you were going to be along the train tracks and this is what happened, what was put together in 2000, but that's really special. I want to actually go into what a game day looks like.
Yeah.
Let's start out and think about, for those that maybe haven't been to many Round Rock Express games, maybe they've never been to one, what does it look like the moment a family walks through the gates? What's their experience going to look like? What are they going to hear? What are they going to see?
Yeah, I think it really starts in the parking lot, right? When you talk about the sights and the sounds and little things, we have a great event staff. We call them red shirts because they wear the red shirts. Yeah. And I think as a lifelong Texan, it's some of the stuff maybe you've seen, not being a lifelong Texan, of like this Southern hospitality, the kind of this Texas nature of who we are. I think it's easy for us to kind of overlook those things, but we get that a lot when people are not from here.
Yeah.
When my counterparts from other minor league clubs come in and go, man, your people are so nice. Going, oh, really? Good. That's good to hear. Like, that's the expectation, but they kind of are. And so the sights and sounds of the park you're going to hear, because we've got, speakers outside the stadium, making sure you're hearing that and feeling that. We've got a welcome message that's hitting those things as you're standing in line. As people still do that to buy tickets, right? Yeah. As opposed to just a mobile purchase. You're going to walk up and see these smiling faces of these consistent red shirts that we have. Welcome to Dole Diamond. That's a welcome to Dole Diamond. Enjoy the game, those types of things. But also the smells. I mean, that leads to the RS3, kind of the sister company we had of concessions of like, I want popcorn popping in every concession stand as you walk this concourse. There's something to that. It's the fresh mowing cut of the grass. It's that sight line as you walk in home plate. Even the design of the stadium, the way the Ryans did it, if you've been out here before. Oftentimes when you come in a stadium, you have this big open concourse, right, that leads you down to the seating bowl, and your concession stands are on the back side of the concourse. Well, if you come out here, you'll notice ours are in the middle, right? You've got an outer concourse and an inner concourse, which creates some problems too, operationally. But what it does do is it creates these natural breezeways that as you're standing outside the stadium, you can see into the ballpark. You're not seeing this outside facade and stone wall. You're seeing the ballpark. You can hear it without even being in yet. So it kind of sets that tone before you even come in. Then you're walking in, and if you're standing in a concession line, instead of your back being to the field, your back is now to the other concession line, but you can look out, you can see the field while you're standing in line. So you know what's going on. And then it also creates these natural breezeways, which are very nice in a hot summer. And so everything was really intentional. And then you look at the stadium, right? The way, these big retaining walls down right field are supposed to be like, the ballpark and for the Orioles, right? Camden Yards. If you go out, the bullpens being not on the field, but in right field, and having this wall like Fenway, like there are these little touches that Reed and the Ryan family wanted to bring from other iconic ballparks that fans may not know any difference or why it is what it is. But a lot of it's just classic ballpark. It's this weave of baseball that's being brought to Round Rock. And every little thing, not that we're perfect at everything and we fail at some things, but it's really, really intentional, which led to creating our own concessions company. Because we felt like there's a lot of venues that have third-party companies and have great relationships, but we wanted to control your experience. We felt like when you got a cold hot dog or a warm beer, a lot of people naturally come to us going, hey, I had a bad experience at your ballpark, and going, well, how do we correct that, right? Well, here's how we do it. We're going to create our own company, and we're going to bridge that gap and kind of work together from the moment you enter the parking lot to the moment you leave.
Yeah.
That's my staff. Same thing with day of game staff. Those are all my day of game staff. We don't third party out any parking vendors, any people supplying me with ushers or kids in our parking lot. Those are people that we hire. We have an Express University coming up here in a couple of weeks where we all get together and we lay out expectations and core values and fun things that are coming and new things, features of the ballpark. But these are our people, right? And so I think all those things kind of make up a great ballpark experience.
When they get in that game, they sit down. Sometimes batting practice, you get there early. You might hear the bat popping. You might hear people warming up, throwing the balls around. And where do you think is the moment that people get hooked? When they show up, they sit down. What do you think the moment is where people just kind of go, okay, I'm in my happy place? What does that look like?
Well, I think that varies for everybody. I'm sure, $2 beers helps for some and dollar hot dogs for others. But I just think it's something that it's such a welcoming environment because baseball is that way. And again, I mentioned the social sport of baseball. Whether you sit on our lawn in the outfield, you've got an amazing view of the game. There are no bad seats in my ballpark. You go to a big league stadium and all have their own variations of things you love. But if you're sitting in the upper deck or maybe you're out in the outfield, you feel so far away from the game of play. Here, there are no bad seats, right? And so sometimes you're going, I'm just going to buy a cheap ticket. I'm going to bring a blanket and go sit on the lawn. And it's right next to the kids' fun zone, which is free for kids to play in. And they come on a night, it's $2 beers and whatever else, going like, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's the food offerings. And again, we're in Austin, so there's a high consideration of like culinary expectations of like, we don't just do your core baseball fare, which is still what people mostly buy.
You guys do a good
We've
job.
got a bunch of unique stuff.
Yeah.
We fold in people like Southside Barbecue, right? We fold in Mighty Fine. We fold in various other local, Tony C's Pizza. And then we do some of our own.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, the fish and chips with the Cork and Barrel that was a local restaurant here recently. And so some of that is like we take great attention and detail to what do our fans want. And serve it that way. So some of it's the food, some of it's the your $2 the Thrifty Thursday, some of it's your Dollar Dog Wednesday, some it's like, man, the fireworks show. Nobody competes with our fireworks shows. Maybe it's those Friday nights, maybe it's the giveaways that we're doing on a Saturday, maybe it is the kids' day where you bring a kid out early and we got all the moon bounces and the train rides out front, the balloon animals, get to run the bases on the field. The beauty of baseball is it may depend on the night.
Yeah.
Right? And so we always talk about that from an in-game entertainment of going, hey, you can't ride them home on a Tuesday, right? Yeah, the Fridays and Saturdays sell themselves, but somebody's only game they come to, industry average, 80% of your fans in a given year come to one game.
That's great. So that's a lot of unique fans.
So a lot of them are, I'm coming on Tuesday for whatever reason, right? It may be financially, that's the discount night, or hey, that's the night my kid's coming out to sing the anthem with his youth group or whatever it may be. Like, I can't dial down the entertainment value on that night. But it may just depend. I mean, there's so much, whether it's the fun zone, whether it's all the things I'm talking, it's the home run dugout feature that we have out in right field that you
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, we partnered with a couple of UT guys getting their masters at UT who wanted to have like a Topgolf baseball experience. And so they created kind of this bay, right, where nothing really new. They didn't really create any new technology. It's kind of the Hit Tracks technology that a lot of golf simulators use, but it's baseball's version of that. And so you can do any major league stadium that'll come up, right? And then virtually, and then I had Dell Diamond virtually done too. And you have this kind of soft softball sized ball that comes out of the ground, kind of a soft toss. You get 5 swings, it tracks, exit velocity. You put the boost function on so everybody can hit home runs. And so you want to go to Fenway and hit home runs, you can do it. It's not you put a helmet on and you're in a batting cage and a ball's coming 80 miles an hour at you. But it's really that Topgolf mentality of you may go to Topgolf and hit a few balls, but you're going to order food and drinks, and it's a cool spot to lounge and catch up with friends or family. And so we have groups rent those out. Game days, non-game days, like those types of areas. I mean, you can't have enough of those spaces. That's why one of the new features this year is we took 3 suites I used to have side by side, knocked down all the walls, and we have a super suite now.
Okay.
Having a space for 70 or 80 people in a suite-like atmosphere for a group outing, which we should talk about. You could come out and do. Or if you just want season tickets to sit in the seats because you like that, you can do that. So I just think there's something for everybody. We have so many people. We survey after every game, right? For better or worse.
You do, yeah.
You find out good, bad, ugly about your operation. Some of those things are really great things. Go, man, we didn't think about that. If we get things during a game that are wrong and we get enough time, we'll go down there, we'll fix it during the game. And people go, well, I did not expect you to come and I'll delete my tweet or whatever. It's like, no, we're not asking. Like, we want to correct it if we can correct it. So I think sometimes it's that, right? It's like, hey, you know what? I went and I spent a lot of money and I came on a Friday night and they had me in the wrong seat or something happened and we upgraded them somewhere else. And they said, you know what a great group. They fixed that in stadium. And so I am going to bring my neighbors next time I come. And so I think it's just different for everybody. People who love baseball, that's easy. You walk in the ballpark, go, man, I can smell it. I can see it. I'm sitting down there. I'm seeing what a great game. I had so-and-so prospect come through. We got that for all you baseball guys. That's easy. It's all the other folks who are trying to bring back, not once or twice, but if I can get you a third time, oftentimes that's kind of it to go, you know what? I kind of like this. I'm going to fold this in.
Well, I think there's been a lot of thought given beyond what most teams would do and beyond most experiences. I mean, if I go to an NFL football game, even if I go to Jerry World up in Dallas, like, there's some fun, the big screens, but you kind of feel like you're ushered in, you kind of feel like you're ushered out.
Right.
It feels fast. It feels like it's like there's a timer on how long I can be there.
Yeah.
Baseball, other than adding pitch clocks, there's not so much of a timer. Go to these games, so when I go, I feel relaxed. I feel like I've got all the time in the world. But you've accelerated that to a point where I could go to most minor league stadiums. I'm not going to get the home run dugout experience. I'm not going to get the beer garden over in the left field.
Right.
So I think there's been a lot of thought that's been put into it, and it really reflects it. So why do you think minor league baseball is so ripe for this kind of feel of entertainment and this relaxation that most places don't have?
Yeah, I just think that's the nature of the game, as we've talked about. But I think you also, you have a lot of breaks and innings and things you can find to interact with fans, and the pitch clock has been great for us this year. But I think you got to meet your market where it's at too. And I think a lot of that's a credit to my staff and the people we have in those positions to go, I want our people to challenge us, right? We have a lot of kids' first jobs out of college too, of going, if I was marketing to you and you worked in another industry in Austin, what would it take to get you here? And look, even for me, like I'm 41 years old, I'm married, I've got an 8-year-old daughter, 5-year-old, they do dance, they do softball, going, as much as I love baseball, now minor league baseball, how many games could I come to? It's tough, right? With your phone and all the other things that are pointing all different directions. And so, not being afraid to change who we are. Again, baseball's, I think been slower than other sports to want to change. You mentioned the pitch clock and some things I think Major League Baseball is doing to be more attractive to this next generation of audience. I mean, even things like with the WBC going on right now, right? Of people pushing back, that's not how you play the game, and all the showboat stuff of going, you know what? I understand it. I played that, right? You want to respect the game. And I think there's more than one way to do that. And I think you have to think about that with any industry you're in, but certainly with us is with all the new competition that's come to the forefront, right? From axe throwing and Moody Center and FC, and we know those guys, they do a great job. Like, you've got to be willing to change. And so every new person who comes on to staff with us, I go, hey, look, this is not a totem pole. I'm not up here and you're down here. And you don't need to go through your channels, and I think that's still important. But like, if there's something we ought to be doing or a question you have about why we're doing something, I want to hear about it. I want people who are curious about why do we do it this way, right? And people that have come from other teams are even better going, how did you do it? Like, let's test those theories. Let's poke holes in things that we're doing and why we want to do them. And again, as the market is changing, let's not be afraid to do that. If it costs money, it costs money. Let's talk through those. There's certain things we can and can't do, right? We still all our minor league club of going like, well, I'd love to do that, maybe no, but what's something unique we can do? And I think surveying is a great example of that, of going, God bless Laura, who runs our market department. She gets all those surveys, and she sifts through those during games, after the games, to go, hey guys, I want to call to attention in each department, hey, F&B, here are 5 that I want, hey, these are legit. Will you respond to them? Hey, sales, had some issues with ticketing here, box office, can you guys take a look? Like, let's just correct the things we know we can correct, but also let's push the envelope. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters was big in my world last year with my young daughters. We had an open late Friday night that we had not programmed a fireworks show for yet. And I said, let's do a K-pop night. Let's get our players involved. And they did some fun things for us. And it was huge. Like, hey, let's leave us some leeway to, if something comes up culturally, and that's what baseball's good about, and minor league baseball especially, I think, to your core point of like, we can almost do anything within reasons.
You have like 75 different experiments you can take in a season, which is, it gives you the flexibility to literally move on a dime if you had to.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of baseball, but to be able to have that, to be able to pivot and go, you know what, K-pop's really hitting. Have we submitted our we sync up our fireworks with our music. Have we done that for that August, whatever? No, K-pop, that's what it's going to be. And it was insane. It was crazy. And so being able to be culturally relevant as things change, you have the FIFA World Cup that's happening this summer. June and July, I know FC and MLS is going to shut down for those 2 weeks. I'm going, what are things? Maybe there's some things we pick up on, things that we can do. Maybe there's going to be some people go, man, I'm jonesing for professional sports. I've not been to that ballpark yet because FC, like, let's go check that out, right? And we've been to Round Rock Chupacabras before. And I know you've talked about that as well, of like these different identities we get to play as and have fun. What could have been nights for us? You mentioned we're the Round Rock Express. Because of the Ryan Express, people do think it's because we have that's the Midas touch. It's the Midas touch thing. Of course, they put a stadium here, and people going, oh, yeah, the train. Yeah. Like, that makes so much sense, right?
You got Johnny Cash, you can play every time.
Correct, yeah. Hear the train coming, right? And so being able to do that and go, hey, well, we could have been the Round Rock Fire Ants. We could have been the Round Rock Jackalopes, which were legitimate names that were brought up. And a matter of fact, Nolan Ryan's favorite was the Fire Ants.
Really?
And so, so we said, well, let's create a Fire Ants logo like we would have been, then play as them as a weekend. Like, those types of things, they take more planning than just a month in advance, but we get to have fun with that, right? Of course, there's a merch play to that, and people love that. But for us to be able to pivot and do unique things, to have baseball be something that's such a wide audience, a demo that you're attracting to, some nights may not be your nights, some nights are. We can change the music up on any given Thursday or Tuesday or Friday or whatever it is. We can layer so many different things on various nights that may attract all sorts of people on a given night. And so I think it's just not being afraid to break from what you've always done. You have to be able to do that. Some nights are not going to work. Yeah. And we've had a lot of those nights too, right? But it's going, you know what? The rhyme or reason why we did it, talk to Reed about it. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we invested in it. Hey, can we have done that better? Or resurrecting nights that didn't work. Well, that was 7 years ago. It's easy to go, those don't work here. Going, well, the market has changed. Maybe it does. Maybe we should approach it a different way. And so I think that's the fun of it is we, like you said, we have 75 opportunities to do new shows 75 times. Let's take a chance.
It sounds like the K-pop Demon Hunters went well for you last year, so I'm excited.
Maybe they'll come back. I can sing all those songs. I don't know if I'm ashamed to say it.
So you've had some pretty big stars from baseball come through here as well.
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez, I remember when he played, that must have been 2013, maybe 14, something like that.
He was great, yeah.
He was great, Manny being Manny. He was back this past year, Home Run Derby X, which I went to. I sat right next to the dugout, got to meet Manny.
Nice.
What an interesting character. That guy is...
You know, a good story about that. So Manny comes through, and you never know. Like, we've had a number of those guys. Roy Oswalt come through, Lance Berkman. Josh Hamilton was still in the prime of his career. You never know how they're going to be, especially on the backside of their career. And so Manny's coming through. All you hear about is Manny being Manny.
Yeah.
Right. So he had these big, long dreadlock hair. He came through the clubhouse. It's very nice. Got to meet him, and that was great. Well, Nolan came over, and he was so excited to meet Nolan. And at the time, Nolan was the president of the Rangers, and so Nolan met him, and Manny was talking to him, and asking him questions, and Nolan, what do you think, Nolan? And Nolan's like, I don't know about that hair. The next day, Manny cut it.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, Nolan, right. It's about Manny being Manny. Well, Nolan, you're thinking he's going to defy all authority.
Yeah, no.
And Nolan's like, well, I don't know about that hair. And he cuts it off, comes in the next day to the clubhouse, totally cut off. These long dreads, who knows how long it took him to grow, going like, at this point in his career, listen to a guy like Nolan Ryan going, you know what? I'll take care of that.
Do what it takes.
But then on top of that, he wasn't playing a lot, right? But you would see when I would go down after the game, every game to the clubhouse and talk to the manager and all that, you would see him sitting there next to these young players, young Latin guys, looking at their at-bats, talking them through stuff, like just really pouring into these young kids, like this next generation of baseball, which I just think is so cool. Like those guys don't have to do that. A guy at his stature who's trying to hang on and do some stuff. A guy who's known for being, there's no telling what Manny's going to say or do.
Yeah.
But he listens to a guy like Nolan, cuts his hair, and then he's there working with a young hitter, which is just so cool, And we had actually Bartolo Colon came through last year.
Oh, yeah.
On a night, right? Just throw out a first pitch, sign autographs. He went back there to introduce them to our players and some of the Latin guys. And they were like, all right, let's keep it. I'm going to stay back here and just keep talking to these young guys about mechanics and pitching. And so that was really cool to see a guy like Manny do that.
Yeah, you've had some really interesting people come through. I think one of the most interesting people ever was a night that I still regret that I missed. It was your first year here at the Express. I'll tell a little bit of the story just because there's a little bit here that I remember. So I had to choose, do I go to the baseball game? Do I go to this company business thing? I went to the business company thing. Yeah. Terrible mistake. But there was this press release. It comes out and it's like, this guy, we're bringing on this guy named Rojo Johnson. He is a iguana smuggler, lizard smuggler.
Amongst other lizards.
Yeah, he's a convicted criminal or something like this. And to me, I'm like, I think Will Ferrell's supposed to be there. So I don't understand this Rojo Johnson thing. So I didn't realize how involved you were in this in your first year. So take us back to 2010. This is before Will Ferrell tried to play for all the teams in Arizona.
Before Eastbound and Down,
Yeah.
Nobody knew how big of a baseball fan we all know he is now. So you mentioned one of my, when's did I know minor league baseball was for me?
Yeah.
And kind of my welcome to minor league baseball moment, it was definitely that. So Will Ferrell went to SC, to college, and his roommate got diagnosed with cancer when he was there. And he ended up, all the money he saved for college, he had to put towards his cancer treatment. And so Will has Cancer for College, this nonprofit he started, benefiting students like that, right? He'd been doing it for a long time, had been hosting golf tournaments in San Diego and doing all that. Well, for whatever reason, 2010, he was moving that golf tournament to Austin. And again, given the Rolodex the Ryans have and the people and the connections and those opportunities, Reed's like, I want to go meet him, number one. Two, let's see if we can get him out to a ball game. Just tell people he's going to be here. And three, maybe he'll do a skit or something funny. Because at that time, obviously, he's known for doing that, right? So they go do that. He had a golf tournament. We were out at one of the tees and helping out and sponsored a hole and the whole bit. And Reed talked to his people. And so it was, at the time, it was me, and I was in our press box, the guy Larry who helped get me this job, and our director of entertainment, Clint. And so our mind's already working around, if we could do a skit, like what would we do? And so Reed said, hey, talk to his people. They're all good. However, he just doesn't want to have to get down to his underwear or something. We're like, well, we would never do that. But it shows you, like, people are going, hey, if you come out, I'd love you to do something wild and crazy.
Old school was huge.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. He's going to run through the streets, right? And like, no, this is a family establishment. Like, we're not going to do that. And so we started crafting what you were talking about. What's the weirdest thing? Like, we could say, hey, maybe his name is Rojo Johnson, right? Rojo because of the red hair. And maybe he had like a fiery temper and he was an amazing pitcher, but he got in trouble with the law. Like, he lived down in South Texas. He was smuggling iguanas across the Rio Grande. And we'll just come up and we'll start this whole story. In the meantime, we're still promoting that Will's going to be here. Will had a press junket with local, all these affiliates have gone, hey, yeah, here's what we're doing. I'm going to be out at the Express game. And so we're doing all the normal marketing, right? People getting excited about that. And then so we're crafting this story. We went down, there's a penitentiary like down in Buda. And we went out there to kind of take some shots. Like, we were a local camera crew. There's a Dairy Queen like 700 yards north of it. So we like talked to the lady who worked the drive-through, and we told her, hey, just say like a ball came through the window one day. And so she did. So we're just crafting all this fun stuff, right? And spending a whole day driving down there and doing something silly to put this together. Yeah, which was cool. Yeah. So doing that, we're talking to like legitimate scouts. I'm going like, hey, well, here's the deal. Okay, I'll talk to him. Yeah, man, that Rojo Johnson boy, he was a flamethrower, and boy, he had a temper. We got Nolan to do a sit-down mock interview with us about it. We had a guy that ended up creating this theme song for him, and so we got this whole story going with this. The true story, him coming out, people getting excited about this Friday night. We're talking to our team about it. They're really excited. And so we do all of that. It's leading up to it. We're saying, hey, he actually was paroled, and the Round Rock Express are signing Rojo Johnson. He's going to be here on like this Friday night, which of course could never happen. Of course, we're the AAA affiliate. We don't sign players either, but we started getting a lot of hate mail and emails. Like, I can't believe you guys are bringing an ex-convict here to pitch. And so it's like, well, whatever we're doing is working, right? People are excited. People are mad. Either way, come out here and see it, right? And so we're doing all of this. Well, Will Ferrell comes out. He's going to shoot a green screen for us, and he's going to do all his press junket. And I remember meeting him for the first time, and he's a tall guy, a big guy. And I said, hey, I'm Tim. And he said, I'm Will. And he's like, Tim, like to remember it. I said, yes, sir. Tim. All right, got it. So then he goes off and does this thing for us. Well, I'm going to be the guy driving him around that night. So the thought was he was going to come out during the game, right, like the third or fourth inning, and he was actually going to start an inning as a pitcher. We do a lot of crazy things in minor league baseball. You can do a lot of things in minor league baseball, but they're typically like between the innings, right? Or they're before the game or just at the end of the game or whatever.
Because he's not actually on the roster.
No, correct, right? And there's still rules around things. Okay. And there's an integrity of the game, right? And like, pitchers are warming up. You don't want them to sit for a long time. And so, it was my job as I worked both clubhouses to go back and talk to the visiting manager, because Will's going to come in and pitch, but he's going to pitch to another fake player, which was going to be our COO, JJ Gotch at the time.
Oh, he was Gamblers, Austin
That's
Gamblers.
Right. That's right. JJ, yeah, this is his claim to fame. If it wasn't, it is now. JJ was going to dress out as a Nashville Sound because we were playing the Nashville Sounds. Well, the manager of the Nashville Sounds is a guy named Don Money, and he's an old school manager.
Brewers, like an old baseball
Brewers
player,
affiliate,
70s, 80s,
like just old school baseball guys. So, of course, I'm the guy who's going to go down there and help talk to him about, hey, Skip, so we're going to do this fun thing, but it's not a between the inning thing. Here's what we're going to do. And so I'm detailing all this out to him, thinking he's going to throw a fit. Like, are you kidding me? This is happening. I can't believe we're having to do this. Well, we get to the end, and he's like, well, I love Will Ferrell. I think that's great. So the whole thought is I get this jersey, Nashville Sounds jersey to JJ. JJ's going to come, he's going to be in the dugout to start the game, and then he's going to come out as the batter. Will's going to try to hit him with the ball. They're going to charge each other. That's what's going to ensue. They're going to run out to center field, and I'm going to pick him up with the golf cart, drive him around up to the press box where we have all the local media ready just to do a stand-up with him. And so we got the game going. All of our players are excited. I'm up there. He's in the owner's suite until it's time for me to get Will. So I come in there and I say, hey, Will, it's time to go. Tim, are we ready? I'm like, let's do it. So he comes with me. We drive around. Well, there's a huge crowd because everybody knows now, right? And people are like running after our golf cart to get out to center field. And we didn't have like a gate in the back, so people are all out there. We get to the clubhouse. He puts on the jersey. We had a jersey that said Rojo Johnson instead of just Johnson.
The full name.
The whole name, right. Well, he brings his own accessories, right? He's got his mustache, these gold chains. We had two of our pitchers come out. He wanted to bring a bag of a 6-pack of Bud Heavy because he wanted to take those to the mound with him. So he goes onto the field into the bullpen. Well, all the fans are out there now. He's warming up. Well, sure enough, here he comes, top of the third or whatever it was. Kick on the theme song. Everybody's hooping and hollering. He runs into the pitcher's mound. The first thing he does is crack a beer and take a drink, and everybody's hooping. He's kind of doing one of these things. Well, of course, the next thing he does is, again, we don't know if he's played baseball before. We have no idea. His first warm-up pitch is a strike. And you can still see this on YouTube, right? It was ESPN not top 10 forever. But he throws this, had 2 million views 10 years ago, right? He throws a strike. Well, here comes JJ. And I think all the fans are going, he's going to pitch in this game, you know? So the first pitch, he throws it over JJ's head, kind of gives him the what to do, and then he chases him. Well, of course, Will runs to the third baseman, then to the left fielder. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm going to have to go see Don Money after this game.
Yeah,
he's going to yell at me about
no
this
clock,
20-minute break, right? So they get to me. I drive around. Fans are still running after us. They go up there, and then he gives this press conference. It was just so Will Ferrell. That's also, I think, on YouTube. It was so funny what he did, and it was just amazing. And that was my true welcome to minor league baseball moment. Go, man, I think I could get used to this. Like, we could do anything if we can do this, we can do anything. And so, we gave him Express swag. I don't know how many months later he was wearing the Express t-shirt courtside of the Lakers game. We got some good pictures of that. And then, of course, Eastbound and Down comes out. He plays every position at spring training. Now he's this huge baseball fan nobody knew, and so it's pretty cool to be a part of it.
I feel like Eastbound and Down might owe you guys some credit, perhaps?
Well, they've got to, because my clubhouse manager looks like Kenny Powers, and his name is also Kenny, so maybe Will told him about that. I don't know.
Well, we hope you're enjoying this conversation with Tim Jackson. Make sure to subscribe to Austin Era's podcast for more conversations like this. We'll be right back with the Good Hang segment, and we'll talk about the future of baseball in Round Rock very soon.
In every episode of Austin Eras, we uncover the city's history, vibrant present, and bold future. Just like Austin, your financial journey is a story worth crafting. At Collective Advisors, led by Adam Flagg, managing partner, senior wealth advisor, and certified financial planner professional, your story is in skilled hands. From investments to retirement planning, Adam and his team bring together a collective of dependable professionals to help you build, maintain, and enjoy financial security. Start your financial legacy today at collectiveadvisors.com or call 512-467-1923. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to Austin Eras, coming to you live from the Visitors Clubhouse at the Dell Diamond. I'm your host, Adam Flagg. We're back with Tim Jackson, the general manager of the Round Rock Express. We're about to do the Good Hang segment. So this is a little rapid fire.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good time here. If you could have dinner with any Central Texan, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, geez. That's a good one. Does Willie Nelson count?
He counts.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
He's actually closer to where I'm from, up in the Metroplex, but probably Willie. I mean, how could you not, right? It's funny. We mentioned Nolan earlier, playing golf with him the first time. I was a little nervous, obviously. And I asked, hey, I got some music. You okay? Like, yeah, of course. And I was like, hey, you want some George Strait? And he's like, you got any Willie? And I said, of course I got Willie. And so we did that. And so I think Nolan would agree with me. I think Willie would be a good one.
Willie over George is what I heard just now.
I didn't say that.
Selling Nolan out. Okay, all right.
Depends on the day. We can do it all out here at Dell Diamond. Yeah.
If you had a friend or family member come to Central Texas for 36 hours, we know you're taking them to Dell Diamond. Where else are you taking them?
Well, Kalahari is another one, and I do that because our friends at Kalahari across the street, the largest indoor water park in the country, I would take them there. I will say, I think as a father of young kids and working in baseball, I don't make my way down to Austin nearly enough. I'm kind of jealous of it because you always see these new restaurants.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of this place, right? And so it's often Williamson County based. I'm not opposed to anything Travis County. I've been to FC games. I've been to Moody Center. I mentioned JJ Gotts earlier with the Gamblers, put on a great show. But Kalahari is a spot that I do take people to because it's just, as a lifelong Texan thinking that indoor water park would be something cool. I didn't think it would be at first. I'm a believer. So
let's say we got Austinite listeners heading up to Round Rock. Where's a food place they need to go?
Well, the Salt Lick's another one. I mean, it's in my parking lot.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have to leave, right? And so I think the Salt Lick's good. The other one, I had it for lunch today, our good friends at Jack Allen's, but that's not specific to us. No. I know they're around, but Salt Trades is another good one that they have over there too. But there is a ton of good place to eat here in Round Rock, and so I'd take a look.
Yeah, definitely underrated. What's your go-to taco or barbecue spot beyond Salt Lick? You have anything else?
I do love Style Switch.
Good call.
And I will say, again, being down there in Austin, the original one, many times, but they have one in Cedar Park now. And so I just kind of shoot over to Cedar Park and have that. My girls love it too, but Style Switch is my spot. I love it.
We already mentioned Willie and George, so we can't do that. What Central Texan musician or band really reminds you of this area, really makes you feel at home?
It might be Reckless Kelly. I'm a big Texas country fan. but we did the Reckless Kelly Celebrity Softball Jam here for many, many years.
Yeah.
And so getting to know those guys more than just Reckless Kelly the band and being an awesome band, I got to know them personally, and I played softball with them, and some of the other William Clark Greens and Josh Abbott and all these Texas country guys who live here locally. And most of them I didn't know they lived here. Reckless Kelly is just tried and true. I listened to those guys back in college, getting to know them personally. I think even though I know they're not originally from here, still call Austin home. So I'd say Reckless Kelly.
I feel like they went away and maybe came back. Are they
I think
back
that's
on the
right.
scene
I think
again?
they're from Idaho originally and then came here. Might have gone away, but are back.
Okay.
But I think that Celebrity Softball Jam, I still have people asking, when's that coming back? That was a big event we always look forward to forever, and they were such a big part of that. And so it's got to be those guys.
I missed that. I definitely can't.
It was a cool event, that's for sure.
What's a place in Round Rock that makes you feel like old Round Rock, the olden days when you first moved here? What makes you kind of feel like it's back in 2010 or maybe older?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Old Settlers Park here behind us. I spent a lot more time there when I first got here because I didn't have any kids yet. But now that both my girls play softball, I'm there. All the baseball fields that are there. Getting to know the Parks and Rec guys and all the city officials like I gotten to know. Old Settlers Park, there's something just so familiar with it. We say that we're the front porch of Round Rock. The city of Round Rock says that they're the sports capital of Texas. That makes us the front porch. And truly to Old Settlers Park, I mean, that is the next generation of fans for us. And now being out there, I mean, my first year, I mentioned being Spike many times. I did it for Sertoma softball when Reed's girls were playing, which is where my girls play. And so I threw out the first pitch there. And so that's kind of full circle for me. But I think it's Old Settlers Park.
What would surprise people about Nolan Ryan that they don't know?
The biggest surprise for me was, as big as a name as he was and as historic as his career was, we had this great experience at Perry's Steakhouse. It's my wife Patty's birthday. I had to talk her into it. We didn't know Nolan was going to be there. It's her birthday and thought about doing a birthday dinner. And Chris, our president, goes, hey, you need to be at this one. I'm like, well, it's Patty's birthday. I don't know. And she's like, well, we'll go. Well, Nolan and Ruth were there. Just cool. We're in the old vault room that's there in that Perry's Steakhouse.
Right off the left side.
Yes. And so we go in there and they close the vault door. We're having great conversation. And what really astounded me about Nolan is his memory about his kids. You'd have Reese telling a story, going, yeah, me and Billy, we were 9 years old and we did this thing. And Nolan's like, no, that was Jimmy. And it's like, oh, that's right, that was Jimmy. And going, a guy like Nolan who think it's all about baseball and setting records and one of the best pitchers of all time, back to that being a family guy, every time he would talk about his best memories, it was about his kids and his family. And his memory as it relates, not just pitches he threw on a 3-2 count and facing Pete Rose and all these things he did, 69 Miracle Mets. It's all the things he remembered about his kids. Yeah. Again, just the family man he is, and I saw it that night.
Really special.
Yep.
Why do people who say they've never been to baseball still love coming to games? We talked a little bit about this, but what do you think's the one magic thing, the one through line you see that draw people to these games and they keep coming back?
Well, we talk a lot about our pastime, right?
Yeah.
It's America's pastime, and maybe for you, me, that feels good, right? That reminds my grandfather taking me to games. But I think for younger audiences, sometimes going like, I don't know about old and past, right? And so I think there's something to that. There's something to baseball being what it's been. But I don't know. I think we say that, right? I mentioned 3 times earlier, I get you coming back regularly. But that one time, I don't think many people leave here going, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It oftentimes exceeds that, right? Yeah. You just don't think, you hear minor league baseball, you think, well, that's less than major. So there's got to be something that's less than. And oftentimes people go, I've now been to both and I prefer yours, right? Because I think it's just something they don't realize. Yeah. And then I think the social aspect, I think COVID obviously impacted all of us of going, hey, I might not have been something that was necessary. I could argue it was, because this is where people come together.
Yeah.
Whether you like baseball or not, whether you're going through tough trials or this is just something fun to do, it checks all those boxes. Whether you stay all 9 innings or you stay 5 because it's a school night, there's something for everybody. And I think once you experience that or have a neighbor that goes, you got to see this, they see it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question, is minor league baseball secretly better than Major League Baseball? I think you've answered that.
Yeah, and look, if you're a baseball guy, I get it. But at the same time, if you're a baseball guy and you keep track of like the stars of tomorrow, you're going to see them here for much cheaper, for much easier getting out, and probably much closer than you would there. Or get an autograph, as we have the way our stadium is set up. Players don't go underneath the stadium to the locker room. They go up to the clubhouse, through the steps, through the concourse. So fans come early, stay late to get autographs and pictures. Like that is a part of the experience. And so I think it's better in every way.
Agreed. I want to move to the future. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things going on here in 2026. This episode is going to come out right about the time the season starts. 26th season for Round Rock Express.
Yep.
Tell me about some of the highlights that fans are going to see and hear coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Banana Ball this weekend, which is crazy. We did those guys last September. But it's going to be a lot of the same, and I'm happy to say that, right? Every year we've got a new slate of giveaways that we're giving out, which were fun. A lot of chupacabra ones and unique hat and jersey ones that we do. Some unique ones that we've not quite talked about. We like to hold people on the edge of their seat when we can about things that are coming. But I think the big thing that is not baseball, but is softball. AUSL softball. We had those guys come last year and set records for professional softball attendance last year. The Texas Volts. Kat Osterman's a good friend of ours, family friend of the organization, is the general manager again. We signed a 3-year deal with AUSL to be here the next 3 years. And this is, as I well know now, with girls playing softball, is a hotbed for softball. Of course, you had University of Texas win it all last year, and they played Texas Tech, and there's plenty of alums from both schools in this area. Coming back and them investing in softball the right way. Really excited about that future for us. So they're going to be playing 13 home games this year in June and July. Season tickets are available for that. A lot of fun things on the horizon. But, baseball and softball are bread and butters for us. And so a lot of the same, I think, as it relates to Express. All of our promotions outside of the ones I talked about are out there for people to get their eyes on. But just a lot of fun. And I think new thing for us, too, we moved to Thrifty Thursdays last year. So we just added more discount offerings from tickets and drinks and food and those things. We're doing the same on Tuesdays now. It's Triple Play Tuesdays. 3 ways to save: tickets, drinks, food. Yes, those are the 3.
Okay.
See, it's new to me.
Yeah.
So that'll be something new. So Tuesdays, just adding more bang for your buck on those Tuesdays. Wednesdays, dollar hot dogs. Thrifty Thursdays that lead up to those big Friday, Saturday nights.
What's a general cost range for tickets out here, from lawn to club boxes?
Yeah, I mean, $12. I mean, on down to $10 on some of those nights. Look, on Tuesday nights, you can still bring 2 HEB branded canned food, and you get in for free. You get a lawn ticket for free.
Wow.
So there really are no excuses not to come, at least on a Tuesday night. We understand tight budgets, and we try to find ways to navigate that alongside you and provide those discounts on those nights. But so anywhere from $10 to $12 for those lawn tickets, upwards of, I think it's a great thing is you can find good seating availability even in the best spots as you would any other stadium for $40, $45. And we've got premium level seating. Some include food, so there's all sorts of options you can see.
We're in the middle of spring training right now, so we don't exactly know how the Rangers roster is going to fill out. But I bet you have some ideas. If someone's coming out and they're a baseball fan, what kind of players, what are they going to be looking for on the roster this year?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same. AAA is unique. It doesn't take a lot of young prospects to be successful and win games. Oftentimes it's a blend of young prospects and older established veterans. And so last year, even though it wasn't the year we had 2 years ago when we won 88 games and set kind of an Express franchise record for that, we had a blend of those guys like Cody Freeman, who made his debut last year. Jake Latz, who's fighting for that 5th starter spot, had made his way through here as well. So we're still trying to see. We're a couple weeks out. We actually head out to spring training next week for us. We always take our staff out to a nice steak dinner and get to know them. We've got a new manager this year. Got in Kyle Moore. Actually was a bench coach for the Iowa Cubs last year.
Okay.
He's younger than me. This is the first time in my now going on 17 years I have a manager younger than me. So I don't know if that's speaking to me getting old or baseball's changing or maybe a little bit of both.
Baseball's getting a little younger.
Yeah, so we got some new staff members, excited to meet those guys for the first time. But I think we'll see a good mixture of young prospects. You got some names coming up from AA to us as well. And then I think a good mixture of good veteran guys. So again, we want to be competitive. That's what we want to be, and I think we'll be that.
They signed. There's some guy on a minor league deal that's supposed to be. Who's the big name that the Rangers brought?
Well, Andrew McCutcheon. They just signed a minor league deal. Some of those guys do that, and then they have outs.
May not make it here.
Yeah, after they break camp, if it's not a major league roster, they have an out to go pursue something else. That would be pretty cool. If Cutch wanted to come through Round Rock, but we'll see.
Okay, I'll shift to Round Rock just in general. I mean, it's grown so much since you've been here, since 2010.
Yeah.
What do you think's changed about the Express, and what do you think's changed about the city in the time since in the last 16 years?
Growth. I mean, growth is the word. I mean, as everybody would say around here, good and bad. I mean, growth can be great, but also you can look at, traffic is tougher. That's some of the pushback from fans that go, man, I love going to games, but it's just so difficult to get out there on a certain time and come out there more than I'd like to come out there. And so it's a double-edged sword with that. But I think growth, I mean, look, when I got here in 2010, we had 26 full-time staff members. I have 46 now. So you see just that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just niches that have happened, things that we need. So I think growth is kind of the term for us. And how do you navigate that appropriately? How do you deal with growth and new people, again, who don't know your rich history and expectations and maintain that? That goes on down to my event staff, my red shirts, of knowing what we're about, what our expectations are for new fans. And so it's just growth is great. But there's another side to growth that trying to navigate that can be tough. And I think we've seen all of that.
Speaking of growth, one organization popped up a couple years ago, the Austin Baseball Commission, trying to bring in Major League Baseball to the Central Texas area. I've heard good, bad, indifferent about the organization. I'm curious. I mean, as a baseball fan, I would love to see Major League Baseball here. What's your opinion about the future of that here in Central Texas?
I can tell you, I think the group that's behind that has spoken with our ownership, right? Why not baseball people talk to baseball people? Mm-hmm. And obviously Reed Ryan has been in baseball for a long time and was, sat at the Major League table with the Astros. I say kudos to those guys, right? I mean, I understand why this is an attractive market. I really do. I can say there are other markets around the country who are doing the same thing, and some are way more ahead of where the Austin one is. There are a lot of considerations, never mind just the posting fee it would take just to do it. Yeah. But the expansion talks and when that'll happen, I mean, you have to get all owners to approve it, number one. That's a tough thing. And then if you're coming into Texas, there's already 2 major league teams. When you start talking about TV rights and the sharing of, breaking out revenue share and all that, that's another hurdle to talk about. But I think the biggest thing as it relates to, I think expansion will happen. When it will happen, I'm not sure. But when it does, you've got markets like Salt Lake who put a lot of time and effort and money into, they've already secured a site. They know where it's going. There's a big funding source around it. Nashville's on there. They've looked back at potentially going back to Montreal as in things. Charlotte's another one.
Portland's always trying to.
Portland is another one. So there's some major markets that are doing the same thing. And so I think those recruiting efforts are likely well ahead of what the Austin ones are. And so I'm not here to poo-poo anything. I would say kudos, more eyes on Austin about baseball. I love all of that. I would say come support your current team here. Yeah. This is professional baseball. We hear the semi-pro stuff going, no, these are pro ball players. But kudos to those guys. But I think it's a long road for that happening.
Totally understand, and I agree. Last question for you. Which is, how do you envision Dell Diamond and the Round Rock Express continuing to kind of evolve and build around the city? Where do you see the relationship? I guess the question really comes down to the community. I come here and I see a community built. Tell me more about how you guys are continuing to try to do that here in Round Rock.
I think a lot of it starts with community, right? It does, even though it's ever changing and growing. But the City of Round Rock is our biggest partner, right? It's a great public-private partnership.
They own the stadium.
They own this facility, right? We've still put in more capital dollars into this facility, and we get an annual bucket from them that comes out of the hotel motel tax. So it's a kind of a benefit. It's a win-win for both of us, and that's been a great partnership. Obviously, city leadership changes, right, every so often. And so making sure that we're maintaining a strong relationship, letting them know why we're important above and beyond 75 baseball games. We had the tornado come through here a few years ago. You get a call from Chief Banks, the police chief, going, hey, I need a command post going to Dell Diamond, right? Hey, whenever we're going to do the City of Round Rock flashlight Easter egg hunt, they're calling, it's going to be here in our west parking lot. Being a city asset is really important for this community above and beyond baseball. And so I think letting a lot of people know all the great things we use this facility for above and beyond baseball, right? And so I think just maintaining that relationship, they're super excited about the softball component to this. We're on the back side of our 10-year deal with the Texas Rangers. And so there are unique requirements for Major League Baseball that are kind of ever-changing facility-wise to make sure, which we're sitting in one of those on the visiting side here, that this got built a year ago because of new facility requirements for Major League Baseball, and the city funded this, right? And they understand what it's going to take for us to move forward as an affiliated team and to be able to attract all these unique events that we attract all the time. And so, you win state Texas high school titles here. The city loves that. It drives people to stay in our hotels and motels and spend local dollars. And we love that when you break out around the state of Texas in high school baseball, which, they just did recently, it's called, we want to be in Round Rock. We want to be in Dell Diamond. And so I think just understanding that, making sure the city continues to understand that, making sure our community, if you've never experienced this, we find unique ways to find you. I may not have the dollars here, there's a lot of unique things to come out and experience it out here for every budget, for every family, for every person that loves or hates baseball. That's okay. We're the place for you. Some people have only ever experienced Still Down through a monster truck event that we did, or hearing about us hosting season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, which is a whole nother podcast we could do. We are that place. And I think the city sees the value. I think the community sees the value, but we got to keep telling that story in unique ways.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered so many topics from baseball, Nolan Ryan, Will Ferrell, but at the heart of it, baseball is just the front for what I see as a true entertainment intersection here in Round Rock, building community. And I really appreciate you taking the time. Tim Jackson, General Manager of the Round Rock Express, thank you for joining the Austin Airs podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming. Look forward to seeing everybody at Hill Diamond this year.
Yes, we'll see you out. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Austin Eras, featuring Adam Flagg, is brought to you by Collective Advisors. Collective Advisors offers investment advisory services through CWM LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Guests on Austin Eras are not affiliates of CWM LLC, and opinions expressed by guests may not reflect those of CWM LLC. This show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide specific legal, tax, or other professional advice. For a comprehensive review of your personal situation, always consult with a qualified professional.